All right, hi guys, my name is Rashana, and today we'll be doing a Bravo movie review on the movie The Last Airbender. So here's a description of the plot that I got off of IMDb because I didn't want to spoil anything like I usually do. So The Last Airbender follows the adventures of Aang, a young successor to a long line of avatars who must master all four elements and stop the Fire Nation from enslaving the Water Tribes and the Earth Kingdom. Now let's dive into the characters. So, first character is Aang. Aang is an airbender that disappeared from the world 100 years ago, just before the Fire Nation waged war and started enslaving all the kingdoms. He is the latest incarnation of the Avatar spirit, meaning that he has the rare ability to bend all four elements. However, he was mysteriously stuck in an iceberg for the past 100 years, so he is still a 12-year-old boy in his physical form and can only bend his birth element air. That's why in the plot, I talked about how his whole character arc is about mastering the four elements because in order to stop the Fire Nation, he must master all four elements. The next character is Katara. Katara is a girl from the Southern Water Tribe and the last remaining waterbender of her tribe. And ever since her mom died, she assumed the motherly figure of her family and had to shoulder so much responsibility at her young age because she is one of the few remaining people of her tribe and had to shoulder the responsibility of being a motherly figure and take care of all of the younger children of her tribe. Sokka is Katara's older brother from the Southern Water Tribe as well. He does not have waterbending powers as Katara does, and in the beginning, he is actually opposed to her using her powers. But over the course of the movie, he learns to appreciate the art and supports his sister. He is supposed to be the comedic relief character. Next character is Zuko. Yeah, Prince Zuko is the main antagonist of the movie. He was banished by his father, the king, at a young age, and he must find the Avatar, who was Aang, to restore his honor. And as you can imagine, he's been trying to find the Avatar for most of his life, and he's not successful until one day Aang comes out of his iceberg. Zuko travels with his uncle, and his uncle is more like a father figure to him. So the last character I'll be talking about is Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh is Zuko's uncle and the king's brother. He is very patient, easygoing, and teaches Zuko valuable lessons. He views Zuko as his own son and treats him well. So Zuko is hot-headed, kind of brat sometimes, but Uncle Iroh is very patient with him and is more like a father to him than his actual father is. So, my overall rating, if I never watched the cartoon series, would probably be around 5 out of 10. So, it's not like terrible on its own, but it's not the best movie ever. It's just in the middle. And I'm not too overly critical of movies, so I'm kind of being very generous here. But my true rating is 1 out of 10 because I watched the series and I love the series. It was an amazing show. And I really believe that this movie did not do it justice. But, of course, there are pros and cons. So I'll be going over that as well. So, one of the pros is that this movie is action packed and the fighting scenes are executed pretty well for a kids movie. It has a lot of CGI because it's a lot of bending of natural elements like water, earth, fire. And this was released in the 2010, 2011, so it's not perfect, but it's better than, well, I guess it tried and it kind of executed okay. It was mediocre for the action scenes. I did agree that the graphics for the water bending are really pretty because water is a beautiful element, and I really liked seeing the Northern Water Tribe fight at the end of the movie because that was executed pretty well in my opinion, and the Northern Water Tribe was like so beautiful. Um, the movie, like the series, has a great soundtrack. The series soundtrack is A+, and I highly recommend you guys listening to it. And the movie also had a really good soundtrack as well. And finally, it has really great scenery. So the series and the movie is set in a fictional world with all four elements occupying different parts of their planet. So like the Earth Kingdoms in one section, Fire Kingdoms in a different section, Water tribes are the northern and southern tribes, kind of like the northern and southern pole. And in the series, each nation was beautiful, had its own sights and natural scenes, and I feel like that this movie did a really good job of showing that. And now let's get to the cons. So, compared to the series, the movie gets a lot of things about the characters and plot wrong. I won't dive into them here because I don't want to spoil anything, but that is basically one of my biggest complaints and the biggest disappointments of this movie. Um, Another con is that there's a lot of telling. In movies and books, as I'm sure you guys know, you were supposed to show the reader slash viewer and let them infer and make predictions. But this movie's dialogue is mostly telling, and it was frustrating because instead of having meaningful dialogue, they just made the dialogue tell you what's going on. Like instead of showing you that Aang is like the avatar, they just say, "Wow, look, the avatar," and it was pretty frustrating. Another con is that this movie was also super serious. The cartoon itself is very light, friendly, and funny, and it does a really good job of like weaving serious topics such as genocide into the light and humorous show. But this movie basically had no humor, and Sokka is like he's supposed to be the comedic relief, but his comedy was just really cringy slapstick humor, and it didn't really fit in with the overall vibe of the movie because the it was a very serious movie compared to the series. And finally, there was a big controversy about the cast diversity, which is very problematic. So in the series, Sokka and Katara are of Native American descent, but in the movie, they are white. Aang is supposed to be of Southeast Asian, like Tibetan descent, because he's supposed to be a monk, but in the movie, he is white. Zuko and Uncle Iroh were supposed to be East Asian, like specifically of like sort of Japanese descent, but for some reason they made the entire Fire Nation all Southern Asian, like um, like Indian and Pakistani, and it was very strange because all of the good guys, you know, the gang, Aang, Sokka, Katara, they were white, but all of the bad guys, you know, the Fire Nation, Zuko, Uncle Iroh, they were all South people of color and Southern Asian. So it was very strange that M. Night Shyamalan, which is like the director, decided to do that because he himself is of Indian descent. So there was a big controversy about that, and I'm leaving that thought up to you guys. But overall, I would recommend this movie if you never watched the series because it's not too terrible on its own. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. The graphics are not bad. It's a beautiful soundtrack. It's pretty serious, so I'm sure you guys will like it. But if you did watch the cartoon series, I definitely do not recommend. And I'll see you guys next time.